Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Couch Crunch Podcast. I'm your host, Nick. We have all the members on the podcast, and we have a special episode today. We're actually inviting Collin, the head honcho of Pizza Kid.
Yeah,
you know?
Pizza Kid.
Pizza Kid,
How's it going,
man.
guys?
Thanks for coming on the show, man. I just wanted to say, first, congratulations to all your success so far, man. I mean, it seems like, look, you were able to get it onto Steam. That's an accomplishment right there. And then also, it's going to events and getting noticed out there, man. You're definitely putting yourself out there on the map. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we just, we're about 15% complete on the demo. So our goal is 20%.
Awesome.
And then from there, we're going to keep pushing, hopefully get a publisher on board. And from there, hopefully we'll see some progress in the next year or so.
Cool.
Ready to launch in about 16 to 20 months.
Yeah, that's with getting a publisher.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's got to be like one of the hardest things so far right now is trying to get a publisher to help us, like, get the Steam rolling, like faster and whatnot.
Sure.
Yeah.
And just seeing, I love the fact, like, when I read the synopsis, because I'm actually in the kind of the Discord, and I can kind of see like how you kind of written some of the story that's kind of written behind this game. I mean, I already like it enough because there's a lot of references, obviously, with Philadelphia. Dude, it looks identical to what it is now. You know what I mean? Like,
no bullshit.
It looks exactly like how it does now.
I thought we predicted that.
That's amazing. Angelo's Pizza, too. Amazing place to eat pizza. So it's like, dude, it's phenomenal, dude.
Right.
Yeah, because I grew up, I grew up in Philadelphia, so I have a lot of like childhood memories there, and I attended school out there, and I attended school in South Philly. So we used to go to Angelo's on South Street.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. And my biggest question to you is like, what made you want to create a game like this?
So the idea kind of stemmed from me being in a user experience class with a guy named Bryce. He's on Discord also as Sim. Carlos knows him. He's met him a few times. He's he kind of dabbled in game design. He was actually a game design major. We just started chatting the one day. We were talking about games, and he said, hey, I'm part of this like game designer. It was like the Game Design Society on Discord. And he's like, yo, I'll invite you. You could meet some people. Maybe you'll find somebody that would be interested in working on a game project. Because I had presented an idea for a game, just a simple game. And kind of went from there, I guess. And, it all started about 2018. I mean, I've had ideas for games for years. I used to run a record label, like an independent record label. Carlos knows about that too.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I used to have an indie record label. And there were like years ago, we said we wanted to make like a video game as part of one of our releases. We thought it would be a good promotional tool on our website. We were going to post like a interactive video game to help sell one of the records. And I just always had that idea. And then when I had kids, we started playing video games with my kids and stuff. So I basically had this idea and presented it to Carlos, actually.
Yeah. I was one of the first guys that came up to and said, he was like, hey, yeah, I'm working on a video game. You want to see what it's about? And I was like, cool.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. This was years ago too.
Yeah, around 2019.
We used to chat we used to chat about games all the time. I used to come in to his place at UPS store, and we would just talk video games and anime. And I'd always come in to ship records overseas. I used to ship records to Japan.
Oh, really?
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to ship records to Japan, records to the UK, out in London, and sometimes France, like all over. So we would just make small talk and stuff. And then we got to know each other, and then we became really good friends. So,
he's my best pal.
That's good. Yeah. But yeah, no, so it was cool because like, everybody plays video games, but they don't think about making a video game. So
absolutely not. It's actually been difficult for most people. That's actually, because there's been a lot of projects that haven't been, at least started and never actually made it to where you guys made it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, this is an achievement for you guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a big jump from what it was to what it is now, because it was very different.
Oh yeah, I played the early stages of it actually. I think it was a game.
No, even before then.
Wow.
Yeah, there was other ideas.
Of we had
what it was.
Like Carlos, explain the idea. Do you remember the idea we had originally?
Yeah, he was supposed to be like an actual slice of pizza. Like he was supposed to be made out of dough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's about early.
Yeah, very early. That was idea days. But
he started off as a piece of dough that you would actually make into a slice of pizza. Okay. So you would collect the ingredients. You would actually bake yourself, and then you would go off and like fight, evil.
It's like zombified,
like food. Like poison food, basically. It was kind of like the idea really stemmed from like, having kids and just like trying to teach kids about eating healthy.
Right.
But then my kids one day, I was like, does this sound interesting? They're like, nah, Dad, that's not interesting at all. We want monsters. We want action. We want we want a beat 'em up game. They love beat 'em ups. And my kids are like 9 and 12 years old now.
Right.
So I started, years ago, and they love Zelda Breath of the Wild. They love Streets of Rage 4, they play Sekiro.
Sure.
They play like all these hardcore games, and I think like young kids would be able to play those types of games. So they were, they were very interested in me making a beat 'em up game, and we shifted and we pivoted, because that's kind of the thing. Like, I think a lot of indies fail because they don't consider pivoting or changing direction when they're designing their game.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And we noticed a lot of patterns with Kickstarters and with YouTube, watching like indie games. What's that one that we watched, Carlos? Best Indie Games?
Yeah, I forgot that.
Shout out to Best Indie Games.
Yeah, Best Indie Games. What was it? Alpha Beta Gamer?
Yeah, Alpha Beta Gamer. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people that work on indie games. So much work, so much effort goes into it. So basically, indie games, making them is not easy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort.
It's a lot of money.
And a lot of all that. Oh yeah.
Do you know that? Yeah.
Well, at least you had the advantage of actually gathering the intel and the resources for you to actually make something like this, because again, you used your kids as a way to kind of gain the idea. That's actually that's really good, especially in making video games, right? Because most developers in today's, I couldn't tell you like per se, but I would assume that they don't really use source material like that. They kind of just make up an idea in their head, or they just kind of follow the trend of what's ever trending out there and follow that. So that's very unique for you guys. That's actually amazing.
Especially with AAA developers, they do that a lot. They just follow
right.
A lot. Don't knock the boat or anything. They just kind of just go with it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I think the other thing is that with me, I just have the experience of being a designer. So like I was saying, I mean, I've actually led a team of about 12 people. We worked on a pretty extensive book on a classic drum machine called the SP1200 from the 90s. So it's very hip hop oriented. So I kind of like worked with a team internationally before. So I had that experience, and I kind of knew how I wanted to approach things as far as leading a team and directing. So I was very fortunate to have that, that information ahead of time. It's just a matter of finding like one or two people to get started. That's the hardest part, to find the talent.
Yes. Absolutely.
That is absolutely most difficult. I mean, anybody can come up with an idea, but how to execute that idea is the challenge.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
you have two options. You can either do it yourself, or you can find people that can help you do that and help you, realize your vision. So that's what we kind of did for a while. It took time. Everything takes time. So you have to have patience too, man.
Yeah, we kind of lucked out with that too, because we got the people that we work with. They're passionate about it as well, which is great. Like we have our guy Rennie. Rennie's one of the main guys. Yeah, he's from Colombia, and he's our animator. But he kind of like does more than just animate. like he tries to implement as much as he could, as much knowledge as he could in the game as well. That can help us.
Yep.
But we have Slime, who's our programmer, and then we have Ovionda, where's he from? I forgot.
He lives out in Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's our artist. He draws the backgrounds and stuff like that. And we have a ton of more. We have a couple more people. Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, we have a couple more other people, but it's just again, it's hard to find people who are actually passionate and want to see what you're seeing and help you with that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So.
And at least y'all lucked out. Yeah, you guys lucked out with getting
the
some
team that we have.
Getting some amazing. Look, man, we've seen some of the sketches and the actual figures of like characters in the early stages, and it's like they're really fucking good work, man. Like,
thank you.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of influences too, like Redline, the anime, and Berserk. I see some of the animators are inspired by Berserk, and I'm like, wow. They got similar tastes to me too when it comes to anime. So was this project really influenced by anime? I could tell by like the intro as well. Okay.
You know, it's funny because I grew. So real quick, I'll go back. So I was, in the 90s and like mid 90s, I grew up in Philly. I went to school in South Philly. I went to school at high school for creative and performing arts.
Okay.
So I was like at the advent of like anime that was just coming out. It was just emerging, like with Akira, Fist of the North Star, all these like classics that nobody really saw yet. They were a huge influence on all of us as being like young gamers, up and coming animators, illustrators, designers. So like we all went to school at University of Arts after Kappa. Or not all of us, but more, like the majority of my graduating class was like, hey, let's go to University of Arts, because we kind of like all flowed together. So we used to hit the arcades. We used to go to Tower Records, Tower Books. I was buying like VHS tapes, before it was a thing. Subtitle. We used to travel hours away just to go to anime conventions, and I would buy import games, and we would go to arcades. We would travel hours away just to go play Mortal Kombat 2 or whatever, or Street Fighter, Championship Edition. Like, people don't know, man. Like, I grew up in the arcades, so that was social media back then. I infused all of that
knowledge,
all that experience.
That's actually the best kind of experience, actually.
Definitely.
Into that, so
Yeah, that's actually one of the best actual experience to have, actually, and especially in that golden age of gaming. Yeah, to be honest,
the golden age.
Because I mean, obviously now we're still getting some amazing games and arcade games and indie games, but I mean, like, to take a trip back to the past, man, it's just like it's one of those experiences you can't really you can't really relive. So all you could do is actually use that knowledge that you gained and put it into something like you're doing now, which is fantastic.
Damn. Yeah, because it'd be interesting.
Way to do it.
It's interesting that because we come from a different generation when the PS1 came out versus like you was around the era with the arcades and everything going.
So you might have been Super Nintendo, maybe even NES. I'm guessing. Maybe I'm aging you too much, bro.
I was Atari, believe it or not.
Jeez. I wasn't aging you enough.
Yeah, I was Atari, man. Nintendo was that was a thing. Like in my probably fourth grade, we all got Nintendo.
Okay.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
It's one of his favorites.
I love it.
Man, back then. 10-yard fight. That was a game that everybody loved. Super Tecmo Bowl.
Oh my God! Yes, the only football game that matters.
Yeah.
Aaron's fanboying over here.
That was one of our favorite games back then.
Okay.
But yeah, Contra is a huge influence on us.
Yeah.
It's wild. Like, making a game it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, I'd imagine.
So much work. And like, planning is the hardest part. Just planning a game is so much work, because you have to think about the level design. You have to think about the characters that appear in the level. You have to think about the enemies that appear in the level, how the enemies act and behave, how they're going to interact with the main character, how the environments are interacting with the main character. It's
a lot.
It's crazy.
And,
it's wild.
And that's just the functionality on the game, actually. Yeah. Then you talk about financing some of the, like you said, like some of the publishers. Like, you have to get like a lot of
We gotta get out
approvals.
the
Yeah,
marketing.
you got to get a lot of approvals from a different all types of different companies. I'm sure it's a lot to go through.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we unfortunately have not landed a publisher yet. We're still working on that, but that's part of the 20% theory. The theory is with most indie games. Carlos and I went to, I'm sure he told you guys already in the past
PAX East.
about PAX East. So we met with Kickstarter reps, and they told us basically 20% is like the golden spot for any indie game. It really helps publishers understand what you're trying to make, and it gives them a really good sense of like vision on the game and overall, understanding what the game's all about. But also, when you go to Kickstart and do a campaign, that 20% helps to sell your idea to the public so that the public understands what you want to make and what you're trying to create. So that also helps. And then the funding will help get you that last 80%. It sounds like, believe it or not, that last 80% is just all like art. I think art assets and just kind of execution. The first 20% of your game is like the core part of the game, the core,
the
it's like the heart and soul of the game.
Yeah.
But once you figure that out, I mean, the rest is pretty much just, knocking out the art for various levels and designing your bosses and all that stuff. And
Sprites ain't cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, most of this stuff probably had to, since there's no actual funding for like some of the stuff, it actually had to come out of pocket, some of it, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we gotta give a shout out to Beto Chavez, man. He's my good friend, also Calvin, aka Beto.
Yeah, he's helping out a lot.
Huge help with making this thing happen, man. He has always been a supporter of the work that I've done with like my record label. He's always helped us out. So he's awesome. He's helped us fund the game. Like he's kind of like an angel investor in a way, but he's like low key.
Okay.
So he's cool, man. Yeah, he loves the project. And he's trying to help us get it funded, and he's been taking it every month. He's always like, "Hey, where are we at with this project? How can I help you like get to the next level?" So that's awesome to have somebody who believes in what you're doing, and
absolutely,
I'm grateful for people like Carlos and you guys, like everybody that believes in the project. I know it might sound cheesy, but I'm grateful for it. Everything I've learned.
Absolutely. I feel as though that's one of the first steps to, acknowledging the fact, like what you've got so far. You know what I'm saying? Like that's very important.
And
I just hope, when it's done, you guys all enjoy it.
Oh, absolutely.
Enjoy making it.
I enjoyed it a lot, man. I'm pretty much soaking in on all, like, I gotta say, like, the difficulty though, it is so freaking fun.
It is. I was about to say, bringing up Sekiro, I can see the difficulty level.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I only made it to the train station, man.
Yeah, there's ways to you can kind of spam the computer a bit if you use the right techniques, but there's going to be a balance, believe us. Like we have, what you guys are playing is basically our prototype.
Yeah, it's very
early version of the prototype. I mean, balancing a game comes way later. That's like the last thing you do is you balance the game out. Right. Obviously.
But it's so far I'm enjoying it, man. I'm pretty much like, yo, I can't wait to see the full release of this.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
If I may ask, obviously, this is a side-scroller beat 'em up. Was there any particular games you looked at, like, a Double Dragon, a Final Fight 3, something like that?
Yeah, so we're probably looking at like, or at least I'm a huge fan of Final Fight.
Okay,
I love Ninja Warriors Saviors. I don't know if you guys ever played Ninja Warriors.
I have.
I have.
Super Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
That was a huge influence just based on the two-dimensional, the 2D plane. I'm a huge fan of fighting games, as I know you guys, I'm sure you are.
Yeah, I am. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the advantage with remaining on a 2D plane gives you that option to input fighting game elements, or inputs. So that was kind of a huge, important. That was an important part of the game for me, at least, was the ability to be able to block and utilize those inputs, those motion inputs, like Street Fighter style combat.
I know. I love that. I love that, man. I love it.
Yeah. So we have a lot more in store for the main character. We also want to introduce like a secondary character. We have Carlos. We have the Mud Kid's dog.
Yeah, we have. He's a companion. Yeah, you can. We don't want to give out too much, but
we don't want to give too much. But,
yeah, in some sense, you would be able to like either direct or use him at some point.
Okay,
in the game.
That comes from my influence of Samurai Spirits or Samurai Showdown.
Oh yeah,
and Galford. He had the dog, which was awesome. I was loving him.
I love him, man.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters, and of course, Resident Evil 4 is also a huge favorite of mine. And you could switch between characters, and you could control, different characters. So I always thought that was cool, like to switch in the middle. So we are thinking about ways we can utilize that secondary option for other playable characters throughout the story. It's just a matter of time. Whether we can get it in or not is just it's going to be all dependent on how much funding we have and how much we can get done in like the next 16 to 24 months.
Yeah, we're still not sure what's going to be in the main game or what's going to end up being DLC. We don't know yet. It all depends on the funding.
Now the biggest question is, pretty much. Well, I think a lot of people are going to ask this question too, and it's like, is it going to be retailed or like retail for like a reasonable price, or would this be like something that you can actually Steam is going to be like a price, but like if it's on the Xbox store, would it be a part of the Game Pass, or would it be like, retail?
So in my experience, I'm not sure about the Game Pass thing because
because you got to get money off of it. Right?
Well, we need to get some kind of profit off of it to go forward with stuff. Yeah, we have to pay back publishers. We have to pay the bills. It all depends on where it lies as far as like who plays and how what's the word? How it gets out there, like the recognition of it, Right. So it all depends on what's the player base on it, how many people are playing it, who's buying it, how many people are buying it, and stuff like that. So
it's probably actually that might go good though if you actually do it that way. I mean, we kind of want to stray away from the free thing for a minute. It's not necessarily free because Game Pass you got to pay monthly for it, but we don't know the whole in-depth, bind behind it, like if they're going to give us royalties or something. We don't know anything like that yet. So for now, we're going to stay away from that.
Yeah, I think what would work really well is I've noticed a way to entice people to want to play or buy a game is to give them free levels. So maybe they get the first 3 levels for free, kind of leave them with a cliffhanger, and then they go and buy the full game. Right now, what you're playing is a prototype. Smart. It's not actual demo. So I would be more than happy to, if a publisher was like, hey, let's just give away the first 3 levels to everybody and see if they like it and see if they enjoy it. And of course they probably will, because I think it's a pretty good. So far, I think we have something pretty special. That's just how I feel about it. I think we're doing whatever we're doing it. I think we're doing it right. So I think that, it takes passion, it takes, creativity, and it takes skill and all the stuff that we're doing. And of course, it takes money. So that's the missing link right now is money. We don't have that funding yet to take it to the next level. But considering we did all of what we did with almost no money, or very little funding, is very impressive.
That's the brain that you have, dude. That's you. You're main focused.
It's just everybody that's worked on the game as a unit, as a team. Like the team is so special. Like when you guys when you come together as a team, I believe it or not, I know this is kind of going off track a little bit, but just want to say this, like a lot of indie developers that I've spoke to, it seems that they enjoy like working with 1 or 2 people on a project. They like be more isolated. They have more control when it's less people working on a project. Versus me, I like to be part of a larger team. I think I work better as part of a team. Personally, that's just, I'm not an isolated artist. I don't like to work by myself. I like to, I interact with other people. I like to vibe off other people's energy.
Because that gives you more of an experience. right? Like,
and I like to bounce ideas off of everybody. I like to just get feedback. It's just a different experience. Some people love the control, and I like to control certain aspects of the game, but I'm all about taking people's advice, as far as the team goes. There's certain things in certain areas of the game where I'm like very passionate about it and very particular about it. Like it has to be this way, just because I have a specific vision for this particular game. But I'm more than open to, receiving other information from people or feedback or suggestions or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's very good when it comes to different perspectives, because everybody has their own taste and you get like a whole jumble pot of which each game developer can put in part of the game. So I like that.
Like everybody adds, like I always equate it to like cooking, they always say like too many chefs in the kitchen spoil the pot or whatever, but I don't always believe that. I kind of think like sometimes it's kind of nice to have, different flavors in the cooking, so that's kind of what we're doing, because we have the cool thing about at least our team is because it's international, we've got all these different all these different cultures involved with the game. It's really cool. Like got people from all over the world, people like Ellie who lives in, she lives in London. And she's our character. She's like our character sheet designer right now. And she's also like a game planner. She helps me design some of the characters' moves.
Okay.
And she does a lot of profile design for the enemies. And then you've got Morty. Morty is from Norway. He's our sound effects and engineer.
Oh, wow.
He's really wild. Yeah, he does all the sound effects. So like when I tell him I want, crunchy sounds from like the Neo Geo era, I want it gritty. I want the impact sounds to be aggressive. He knows exactly what I'm talking about, but he also like has that experience, and he's a game designer himself. So it's just really cool how we all came together. And, Slime's from Canada, so we got that Canadian
Kevin
flavor.
Ripley is domestic. He's our music guy.
Kevin Ripley. Yeah, Kevin's wild, man. He's
the music that you hear playing is Kevin's music.
Okay.
All right.
Kevin Ripley's from Philly, so you got to give him a shout out. He's super talented. He's a up and coming composer, jazz musician, electronics musician, artist, whatever. So I love, like I said, man, I just love pulling talent from all over. That's why believe it or not, I do a lot of collaborations with illustrators from all over the world.
Oh, wow. Like that.
I like to hire pixel artists from all over the world and help do marketing promotion. Carlos will tell we did all kinds of cool, like PK promo art.
Oh,
I hired different artists. I hired a guy from Japan. He did an illustration. He did a few illustrations, actually.
Oh, wow.
And then, we get, who was that one dude? Nico?
Is it Nico?
Omega Chino Boy. We got him. We got, who else? There's a whole bunch of good, really talented artists on Twitter, man.
Yeah.
Pixel artists. Really talented.
I was about to say, I checked out the Twitter. I see how like a lot, like you said, the pixel art is very unique, like Castlevania fan art and all like that.
Yeah. We have a lot of pixel art. Just as far as, the cool thing about Rennie's style is he's just super unique. His style is unlike anybody else's, which I think helps give Pizza Kid its own, aesthetic.
Yeah.
Besides my own, so I do the concept art, and then I'll pass that off to Rennie, or I'll send it to Avyanda. And Avyanda and we worked on a comic book for Pizza Kid, so we do have a graphic novel in sort of in the works that is a companion to the game. Wow. We might have that in the game as digital downloadable content with like an art book.
Ooh.
We have all kinds of cool little ideas in place. So it's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't want to bring up the comment because I wasn't sure if there was like under the wraps, but I did see some of it on the Discord too.
It's out there,
Okay.
It's definitely, it's something that the comic is not finished. I have to put that together, but I'm just trying to think of ways that I can raise funding, because if I don't get a publisher and they don't want to fund the game, then we have to figure out how to do it on our own. So coming from my background of like trying to raise money in my own way, one of the ways you can offer, bonus content, you can offer, limited edition booklets or whatever, and try to sell them online.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good way to fund it. Like it's a backup plan, definitely. especially as bonus content, like you said, it's like going through it within the game. Yeah, and they could provide like a backstory to the Pizza Kid lore as well. Because I'm really invested to the story, like the apocalyptic kind of feel to it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
It's an outwardly world building got going on there with the comic. That's pretty cool,
right?
And as far as we're talking about expansion, I kind of seen some. I think it was an idea that I kind of seen in there that you guys are kind of working on some sort of Netflix type
animation.
Yeah. We have ideas for that as well. That's kind of the way my brain works. Is I'm thinking 30 steps ahead. I'm not thinking like
we're trying to keep it so where it's like something that we can franchise off of, something that will keep going over the years.
Got you.
And then like that would be so Pizza Kid would be our name basically, and then just like how Nintendo has Mario and PlayStation has God of War or whatever,
and then you can kind of work on other projects.
Yeah, and then we work on other projects from there.
Right.
But, we're just trying to stick with getting Pizza Kid the game first, and then moving on from there.
Which is smart.
Whatever is lined up next.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's actually a smart way to go about it.
Exactly. I mean, you have to take what you build and just keep growing it,
Yeah.
So that you don't, people are going to expect a follow-up. If it's successful, they're going to want to see a sequel, or they're going to want to see something.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like, why wait 20 years to come out with a spin-off, animated series when they could do it simultaneously or.
Why it's trending.
It's trending.
Once it becomes popular, most people are gonna want to, probably expand. Like, if this game's amazing, I'll be like, okay, I want to watch the Netflix series and get a little more insight on that. Like,
I want to get more in depth with the world or the character of Pizza Kid.
Right.
We're trying to give something to remember.
Too, I grew up in the 80s. I was born in late 70s, so. I grew up in an era where our advertising and marketing was done through cartoons. Like Transformers was a huge part of my childhood. And G.I. Joe, Visionaries, like Mask, all these old retro style animated series. These shows were designed to sell toys. Right. They were not designed for kids to I love to watch this show. It's like, so I'm thinking, how can I use other marketing tools to help push the game? So it's like they vibe off each other. The game will help promote the animated series. The animated series would help promote the game. It's like a whole culmination of ideas, and they all kind of, Carlos will tell you, we have ideas for toys. Like I would love to do like an Amiibo series or something similar.
Yeah.
I would love to see Pizza Kid and a Smash Bros. DLC.
That'll be kind of really cool.
It would be super. It would be so appropriate to put PK, in a Smash Bros. with Amiibo would be amazing. That'd be
you would fit right in.
Incredible.
Yeah. I actually just blew my mind for a second. I was like, oh snap, that'd be really freaking cool.
It's a possibility,
It is.
If not, maybe. It may appear in an indie game. Who knows? Like maybe there's another indie spinoff. Depends on who we're with. If we're for example, let's say we got picked up by Yacht Club Games, they have Shovel Knight. So I know Shovel Knight appears in some of the. I think Shovel Knight's in Smash Brothers.
Yeah, he's an assist trophy.
Yeah. So. Even if he's an assist,
he'll be. To be in the game at all is honestly a huge honor.
So, and then if people really gravitate to that character and his fight combat style, it's just like people want to invest into the actual game.
Yeah,
invest their time.
Again, we're trying to give a name to remember. That's all. Like the thing is,
and then the Pizza Kid stands out too. Like it really stays in your head because it's like it's not so difficult to forget about, but it's also like you can remember Pizza Kid. It's like so simple.
Yeah, it's a simple name.
And real quick for the audience,
everybody asks us, "Where's the pizza?"
Yeah, I was gonna say for the audience, so you can know that the game's called Pizza Kid because his name is Angelo, and he's a he delivers pizza because he runs the pizza shop with his mom. So that's where Pizza Kid came from because he's a delivery guy.
Right.
So
okay. It's like
Who knows?
There's a lot
You
of
might see,
backstory. There's a
you
lot
might
of
see a
lore in
pizza
the game.
being made in the background in like a cutscene or something. You never know.
I was gonna say the martial arts. I mean, he has like some sort of sensei. That would be cool as shit.
Yeah, his sister. Black Rose,
Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's in the
Yeah.
Discord.
she's a ninja. She studies like ninjutsu. So
Black Rose.
there's a lot to the story. Believe it or not, when you read the comic book, you'll see a lot of the storyline sort of evolving. And then, of course, in the game, we're going to have more cinematic cutscenes. We have a lot in store.
Oh yeah.
It's just a matter, again, it's a matter of, do we have the funding to make these things happen? If we don't, then they'll be omitted from the game. But if we can get it in there, great. If not, you guys will have to buy the comic.
Oh yeah.
Man, we got
beat the game and download it, or somehow. I don't know.
We gotta
We'll figure it out. Maybe it'll be an achievement, unlockable or something. I don't know.
Yeah, we got to pick up the phone and start making some phone calls to these publishers, man. Something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get the
Follow
word
Slack
out there.
Drive, man. We did it pretty.
Yeah, and real quick, so if Ramir ends up watching this, no microtransactions.
yeah. Specifically for him. There he goes. There he goes. But don't do nothing.
I was gonna say, what about the skin? Like that would have been perfect because he was probably able to ask that. He would have been like, "So what's up with the can I change like the colors or like something like that?"
Yeah, but I definitely want to do like color palette changes, palette swaps. Because
Nice.
kid has like multiple color palette. You can change his hair color to blonde and skin tone could be darker. It doesn't matter. He's not really any one particular style. He doesn't.
You can be whatever you want to make
so-
him.
Nice.
He can be whatever you
Yeah.
want him to be. It's a fictional character.
Turn him into a Super Saiyan. Gotcha.
Go for it.
Yeah, exactly. He's got that alien blood. Yeah, the story has some wild. Yeah, there's a wild story behind it, man. I spent almost a year working on the lore.
Okay.
So
Cool.
there's a lot going on.
Speaking of the alien aspect, a lot of the creature designs is like real cool. I like the crab looking
Yeah,
boss.
that's Collin with his fucking, I don't know what he takes. Like what was it that you do? You kind of watch like Animal Planet or something. You see two animals and you
Yeah,
kind of like mix them
right.
together
Wow.
into a creature.
Okay.
My son and I, we used to watch like all this. Like we used to watch a lot of Animal Planet. And like 72 most dangerous animals in the world, all from all over the world. And I would just make up these characters and these like humanoid creatures based on what I watched. And this is like totally no substance abuse in any way.
Oh yeah.
like totally sober, just hanging out with my kids, man. I guess I just have a wild imagination, but
That's good to have that.
a lot of it
Yeah.
comes from my anime influence. I'm not going to lie. A lot of it comes from that era
Right.
of like,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of, Guyver. You guys ever watch?
Oh yeah.
I know about Guyver.
Open up the chest, let the beans out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I got the wild imagination, but a lot of it's from that. So,
Right.
I collected a lot of comic books growing up. So, the Marvel stuff. That's the coolest part. Also, is the game is designed like a sort of a graphic novel. Has that very dark, that kind of dark, graphic novel aesthetic. I guess you could say. I don't know.
It's like eerie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the creatures, the creatures are all fucked up, dude. But it's great. It's like you're gonna remember these fucking monsters.
Right. Kick over some of the cans. You see like a yellow slime creature coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I know like
There's slime in there.
even playing one of the first levels before this version of the game came out. I remember it was actually a game within the game, right? I think that's
yeah. It was
Yeah, that was-
the mini game. It's the
mini game.
was it
It
the
looked
burger one?
Pizza Time.
Yeah, Pizza Time.
Which was based on it was supposed to be a parody of Burger Time.
I figured
Tell
that,
everybody
even
that.
though
They
I
act
didn't
like,
even,
oh my god.
didn't even know about that. I figured it was going to be based on Burger Time.
Burger Time was hot.
Pizza Time is just that was actually a mini game. So the mini game is supposed to appear in the game. It's going to appear in the arcade. So in the game, there is a pizza shop, which is the stronghold where Pizza Kid hangs out, just hangs out while he's getting ready to go out on the streets late at night and battle monsters. So he's got that option to visit. There's going to be unlockables in the game and discoverable stuff, like discoverable items. Like originally we were going to do hidden tokens, And when you found the special token, you could unlock an arcade machine, and you could play mini games. In the middle of like
that's cool
battling
shit.
monsters.
That's pretty
If you
cool.
wanted to go back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we also had like the soundtrack. You can unlock the soundtrack by finding discs like special. I think we were going to do records.
It was originally records.
We might do cassette. We might just do like cassette tapes.
I don't know why I thought you were going to do like. I don't know. I thought you were going to do like laser disc or something like really old.
No.
Laser
No,
disc.
like cassette tapes. Keep it old
We were
school.
doing it like retro. It's supposed to be like because kid is like a fan of the '90s.
Yeah,
just like,
okay, right.
Yeah.
there's actually like basketball cards. There were supposed to be different collectible items. But again, it all comes back to the influence of like Resident Evil 4, where you find like different items. There's a lot of different influences in this game. It's not just like one or two.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot. So Carlos, and I, we talk a lot about games. We used to talk about more years ago. I'm not going to mention why, but
Let's keep that one behind
we'll tell
behind
you
the
that
curtain.
off tape. Off camera. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, guys, expect a whole lot more coming up in the next, several months. We'll have some new updates and
Cool.
a demo version to be released on Steam.
Nice.
Just working on the new combat system. We have 2 bosses we're working on for the first 2 levels. And hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, and for the audience, just know that it's early prototype, and yes, we know that there's one monster that you fight. Yes, we know that.
Yeah.
We are working on putting more enemies in the game. Got it?
We have
Good.
30 plus enemies. at
Yes,
least.
we have more enemies coming. It just takes time. It's a lot of work.
It takes a time, yeah. This is all hand drawn,
Yeah,
That's what they don't understand. Like, it's not 3D, so you can't just put a model in and start animating it. This stuff is hand drawn by one person. It's many.
And that's what I mean.
It takes time, It takes time to perfect.
Especially for the gaming community, it's just hard to kind of satisfy any of them.
yeah.
So that's
a lot
why
of
it's
people
like,
talk crap,
Yeah,
Exactly.
but they don't know what's going on in the background.
yeah.
Right.
They just want
exactly.
they want it to be given to them, and they want to be like, all right, so if this is a game, I want to be able to do this, this, and this without no problem.
I want it, and I want it now.
Yeah, exactly. So demanding. You can't please everybody, but I feel like if you can please the majority of the fan base, then at least you've done your job as a
Yeah,
designer.
exactly.
Definitely.
Right.
So
You're always gonna have
I think a lot of people.
you're always gonna have those guys that are just gonna be like, or those people that just be like, this is not it. But as long as you have some type of following, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
It might not be for everybody, It's for a select few, I'm sure. It's sort of a niche mark, So if you're not a fan of like a more modern style beat 'em up that has sort of hack and slash elements, Carlos, did you tell them that there's actually a weapon also?
I didn't know we wanted to let that out yet.
No, I mean it's been out for
It's on the Discord, but I mean like
there will be a point at which you will obtain or acquire a weapon, which is cool.
It's called the Butterblade.
So, it'll be cool, man. We have a lot of interesting ideas that it'll change the dynamic of the gameplay.
So just to give a little bit of detail, it is in the Discord, but I didn't know if you wanted to throw that out there yet.
That's okay, man. I like to
so
teach people
it's a
bit.
double-sided it's a circle double-sided axe that when you swing it, it's basically floating, and it basically just swings around and it separates and it does different moves.
Okay.
We got a whole setup for it.
Nice.
So we figured that we'll show that once it's done and ready and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But
Danny, what was your development in this game? Like, I don't think we ever really talked about that in the podcast.
Well, I help with level design. I do give my ideas on what to implement in the game. Collin asks me, what should we do? Should we do this? Should we do that?
Okay.
And I put my inputs in, and we sometimes go with what I say, and we go with what he says.
Gotcha.
But I helped him with a lot of the level design and a lot of the ideas of what to do and how we set up the whole layout of the game on what's going to be first, what's going to be second, and how the flow is going to go with the gameplay and everything. So we're kind of still working on that too.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, we have 8 levels. There's going to be a total of 8 levels, but roughly 11 stages or areas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each level is gonna have small stages inside of them.
Okay, cool. Kind of like, Act 1, Act 2.
Yeah,
Kinda like,
yes,
okay,
yes,
cool. All right.
Just so people see, it's only eight levels.
Well, people
It's
people
actually
play Mega Man, so they should
it's more in there once you go in there.
Yeah, people play Mega Man.
There's more to it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it's just there's a reason why there's 8 levels, because he has eight slices on his medallion, which is shaped like a pizza. And your basic
Is to collect the magical
your goal is to collect those
seed
gems,
stones.
the gemstones.
Oh,
And the stone will
fascinating.
give you superpower. So as you level up, you'll gain a new ability, and you'll be able to utilize that ability on the next level. So
Cool.
you may use them all, you may not. My kids play Sekiro, and they don't even use like the majority of the specials that you can acquire.
But at least we'll have the option to for you to use them if you want to.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you can beat most beat 'em up games. You can beat or finish with just one attack.
Oh yeah.
Which we try to stay away from. We want people to, come up with their own unique attacks and combos
That's
and
one
stuff
thing
like
that we
that.
have
part of
a lot
the
beat 'em ups
appeal
do not have. We have a lot of versatility with our combat system.
Mm-hmm.
It's very free combat, but it is designed to chain. In order to chain moves together, you do have to start with a light punch and leads into other. You have light punch, heavy punch, kick, and then you can jump, of course.
Okay.
And
So we got
change
some
your
Street Fighter
directional
links in
input
here.
if you
Okay, I
like
like
it.
that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
about-
So pretty much it, man.
Yep.
All right, man. I appreciate actually you being on the
Yeah,
show,
thanks,
man.
guys.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you for joining the show.
And
Thank you for having me.
oh, absolutely. And we hope to see you again on the show, man. And keep
to come back when we're further in development, and then talk more about updates and stuff.
Oh, I
That was
can't
cool.
wait, man.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna go far.
I'm
Bro.
looking
Like
forward to
we
it.
have to have our head up high when it comes to this project. But definitely, congratulations on all your accomplishments so far.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks so much. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, guys.
All right, bro.
All right,
I'll
man.
see ya.
Have a good
I'll
one.
see you at work, Carlos.
See you, bro.
All right, man.
Peace.
Peace, guys.
Peace.